What up? What up? What up?
New Earth podcast, man. Season 1, episode 4. Y'all don't even know what just happened.
Yeah,
We
we
just
kind of.
had the most lit episode of all time, and my PC ran out of storage. So that's just out to the ether. There's a corrupt file floating around the metaverse somewhere with probably the best podcast of all time, but you guys will never see it.
Of all time. Of all time.
But
But,
this is a New Earth podcast, so here's a new ass podcast. A new
and we were
episode.
talking about breaking the matrix, okay?
How
So
does
let's
one do
tap
it?
into that. Let's tap into that.
Okay, so back to what we were just talking about a minute ago. How to escape the matrix, man. So we were talking about in the last podcast, we were saying that there's two types of matrices. You got the infrastructural matrix, and then you got like the actual reality that we live in. Infrastructural matrix is the government, stuff like that. And then the actual reality we live in is more akin to the movie of the Matrix. Like, is this world real? Is this world a simulation? So when it comes to escaping the matrix, on the infrastructural side, I believe you just need to get more passive income than debt, and you need to not make yourself alleged to one specific government, because there's no way to get completely off the grid now. So you just got to be on as many grids as possible, which means multiple licenses, multiple fucking passports, stuff like that. Once you amass your wealth.
Right.
Now, when it comes to escaping the matrix of this reality, you got the easy route and the hard route. Easy route is drugs, DMT, mushrooms. Hard route is meditation and enlightenment.
Right.
So, after saying those definitions and routes, what do you have to add on to that, Abdul?
I would say that for me, the first thing you want to try to understand is yourself. Know thyself. I think that when you understand yourself and you understand why you make certain decisions and why you are keen on what you like, I think that you become a more valuable person on earth. I think also you have to try to switch your perspective or master your perspective. Now, when I say that, it's easy to take that at a superficial value. I don't mean it at a superficial value. Perspective can be anything from how you see a certain political viewpoint to just how you are taking life, kicking your ass in that moment, you know? Perspective is too many things for it to just be locked down to one. And I believe that understanding that it needs to be tweaked and understanding that the initial perspective is not always the right one, I think that if you can do that, then you're on the right path. So my first two steps to getting away or breaking free from the matrix is, again, knowing thyself, as they say in a lot of, spiritual books. They say it in the Quran, they say it in the Bible, they say it in the tablets, they say it in a whole bunch of these spiritual books, You have to know yourself on an anatomical level, on a spiritual level, physical, mental, and perspective. For me, filmmaking, editing, those type of things, they kind of make me happy. Those are my,
They're
things
like a
that,
mirror.
you feel me?
There's a little bit of yourself in them.
You feel me? It's creativity, man. Whereas as the creators that we are on this earth, perspective is so important. If you want to, like, let's say for a film, you want to make somebody look big, you want to shoot underneath them so that you can give them that feel. Whereas if you want to make someone look really minuscule, you take the thing and then you point it down at them, right? So
Yeah, perspective
it's
angles.
perspective, bro. Something looks way bigger from over top, and something can look way, smaller from. I flipped it, but you know what I'm saying, bro.
Perspective is actually really interesting because I don't think people realize how much of a difference perspective can make. The person that I think had the best idea on perspective is Einstein, because he came up with the theory of relativity, and that's E equals mc squared or whatever. But I watched this YouTube video that explained what that meant in like the real world, because I don't know shit about math. But apparently the theory of relativity is explained like this to dummies like you and me. If you imagine a blank canvas for the universe, right? There's nothing there. And then you spawn in a ball. If that ball were to decide to move left and right, if there is a blank canvas to compare, there's nothing to compare it to. So you can't tell if it's moving. You can't tell how big it is. You can't tell how small it is because you have nothing to compare it to as the observer. Obviously, the observer would have to be outside the realm of the universe in order for this to make sense, because then you can compare it to yourself. But
Right.
now let's, in this imaginary experiment, you add a second ball, right? Now you can tell how big it is. You can see if it's smaller or bigger than the other ball. You can see if it's further away from the other ball. You can see all these things. And you can play with that experiment and see how important perspective is. And I don't know. I just think that's crazy that Einstein figured that shit out and found a way to explain it in math.
And right? Nah, for real.
That's crazy to me.
Nah, for real. Perspective is very important, bro. I feel as though, like, I'm telling you, bro, like, even for the people that, bro, depression or whatever mental issue, bro. I'm not saying that it's not happening, but what I'm saying is, if a lot of people, if they switch their perspective on how something may, make them feel, like they just switch how they view it. A lot of the stress or trauma that you give yourself initially, because we as humans, we always think negative thoughts at first, or unless you condition yourself to be different, or some people are just, vibrating at a different level. But if you can try to understand, like, your thoughts, and then, just like, figure out how to switch how you view them based on convert, just like, okay, maybe I shouldn't take this as this person said this to me in this way. Maybe I should switch my perspective and say this person is going through X, Y, and Z, and that's why they had whatever reaction they may have had in this moment. It's not always about me, or it's not always about how I feel. Maybe the perspective should be switched.
My favorite example of something like that is, there's a famous saying of, it's not a loss if you learn from it, or turn your L's into lessons, stuff like along those lines. And that's what you're really teaching that person, is how to convert negative energy into positive energy. If something really bad happens to you, and you stare at that and you change your perspective, instead of feeling sorry for yourself into, oh, this happened to me, now I can learn from it and I can make sure it doesn't happen again, and now I have security. That's a positive, in my opinion. So at the end of the day, this life is all about converting negative energy into positive energy on a mass scale, and that's like kind of what I think the purpose of life is for you to try and figure out how can you best convert negative energy into positive energy. And for me, my plan, obviously, is to amass a shit ton of wealth and then use my power to expel the negative energy out of this world. But one of the best ways to make money is to teach people how to make money.
Yeah, nah, for real.
And what are you doing? You're changing people's lives. You're changing people's lives by teaching them how to make money. Or another way to make money is to save people money that already have it. So one thing that I've learned is that there's no such thing as making money. The only people that get to make money is the Federal Reserve, because they print it.
So you gotta take the money.
Take it. Yeah, there is only taking money at the end of the day. And there's this really great video I'll recommend to people. It's called Ray Dalio, How the Economy Works. And he has a very good visual representation on how the economy works. And I've learned this now since I work in sales, that the economy does not move unless a deal is closed. And every handshake that takes place is an exchange of money. And that's someone convincing them to give them their fucking money. At the end of the day, energy. You spend money on Netflix, that's Netflix selling you. That's Netflix taking your money. You spend money on your bills, that's because they convinced you that you need to pay rent, and now they're taking your money. You spend money on taxes. It's because the government convinced you that you should be spending your money, so they take it from you. There is no making money. It's only taking money. So that's why there's always going to be winners and losers in capitalism. And even in communism, there's going to be winners and losers. Which is why I personally think the way that you solve poverty and world hunger, and this is an iffy statement because I don't really know if I believe in space. I know I sound like a fucking cuckoo for that one, but My personal answer to poverty and all that stuff is space exploration, because that gives you infinite materials, and if we had infinite materials, then we can make infinite food, we can make infinite shelter, we can make infinite water, which are the three necessities for life.
Yeah, I like Earth though. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. This Earth
I like
is
Earth too.
enough for me, man.
But like even if we didn't travel to other planets, even if we just started mining asteroids and shit like that, I think there would be a positive from it.
I feel
Because
you.
we have a sparse, honestly, I don't think we have a sparse amount of resources. I just don't think it's shared evenly.
Yeah, thank you. That's my thing right there. I believe that this Earth is very bountiful, and I think that there's more than enough material on this Earth to make sure that we all are good. And I think there's a lot of resources, bro. I think that there's a bunch of powers at hand that are distributing it unfairly, and I think that the world suffers as a whole because of it.
Energy cannot be created or destroyed, which means theoretically, all the energy that was here in the beginning is still here.
It's still here,
and
bro.
like,
it's just,
damn, that's crazy.
It's maintaining
a crazy concept to think that all of it's just maintained a different form. That means that at one point the energy within dirt has turned into a human. That's what that means. That also means that Stardust is what created humans. Yeah, it's the cycle of life. How is it that humans have become so bountiful? How is there so many humans? How do we come from the dirt? That is the question. And
I think we come from the stars, bro.
Well, the dirt comes from the stars.
Mm.
I say we come from the dirt because we need food, and food comes from the dirt.
The roots, right?
Yeah.
Eating foods with proper roots, bro. Let me tell you my third step to escaping the Matrix.
Diet.
My third step to escaping the Matrix is you have to be an alchemist. It's my favorite term, and I'm going to keep saying it over and over again. And if you haven't read the book The Alchemist, you need to read The Alchemist.
Haven't.
That book
Heard
is
great things,
insane. That book will change your reality. It will change how you look at life because, again, it's that classic, story of figuring out your life mission. And as you're figuring out your life missions, you have different omens or, spiritual guides that come and just guide you on your path. They let's say you start wandering off to the left a little bit. Something is going to lock you back in to say, oh, wait, nah, this is my mission. I need to lock in on this, And the reason why I say be an alchemist, again, I believe we as humans, we are very, very strong beings. I think that we have powers and I think that we are way more intelligent than we give ourselves credit for. Yeah. And I believe that we have powers to, shift energy. I think that everything that happens around us is energy. And I believe that once you begin to fix your auric field around you and gain control of it, get on your senses, get on understanding what you are in this realm, I believe that you then can now begin to conjure whatever energy comes your way into whatever you want it to come into. So let's say you have an argument with someone. This could be very superficial, something on a day-to-day basis, or it can be something on a global, bigger scale, Someone like Elon Musk has found a way to conjure up so much kinetic energy within himself that the whole world knows his name or uses a product of his, you understand? So it really is just being able, you got to think about it, bro. These individuals were individuals like us that had an idea,
that's a famous
and they
quote
thought
from
about
Steve
it
Jobs.
over and over again, and they thought about it, and they thought about it, and they thought about it. You know how many people told them, bruh, nah? Sometimes, bro, you'll have something you care about. For me, it's art, right? My music, right? I've started to understand that when I first thought about music, right? I saw a lot of my friends doing music, and I was like, you know what? I want to try this, right? And I remember like the first 2 months, I was like, yo, I'm gonna drop a song. And this, I want to even say, maybe I had it from the wrong perspective too, because I believe something as music is a very deep spiritual like bond that you're making with yourself. If you're saying you want to do it and you want to share it with other people, because you can do something and just do it for yourself, and then you can do it and do it with the hopes, with obviously with the blessings from God to say like, okay, I'm gonna use my music to try to shift energy, like I'm gonna try to shift culture. But I'm saying all that to say, right? If you like, you can get to a point where like it's just a thought, and then you actually have to do it over and over again and mess up and fold and fold and fold, and then you finally put something out, right? That's energy. That whole process that went into developing whatever it is that you put out. For me, I'm going from the experience of music. For you, let's say it's a gaming tournament and you practice for 4 months to go and place as high as you can at this tournament. You understand? It's about the performance. It's about the
your performance is going to reflect on the energy you put in before, the amount of time and effort. And time can be misleading. Because I've seen people on Halo or other video games with a shit ton of playtime, but the quality of their time and the amount of energy invested was not as high as somebody else. And that's the thing that I feel like that's why they're fighting attention so much. And that's why you got your, remember back in the day, people used to watch YouTube videos 10, 12 minutes long, right? Now, 10-second TikToks. Vine came out. It was capped to 6 seconds. Scrolling. And it's because they want our attention span to go down. I have a book over there called Deep Work, and it talks about how to lock in, how to get into a deep flow state when you're working or studying. And there's people, I think it was Carl Jung, they used to go away, be alone for months, write books. And look at what solitude and true focus can get you. You got Jesus, you got Moses. They both went 40 days, 40 nights, no food, no water. They become enlightened. You got Buddha. This motherfucker lived inside of a castle, went outside against his father's rules, saw that his life wasn't perfect because his dad tried to shelter Buddha, and Buddha was born in Nepal. Went out to the farmlands and saw the people living in poverty, dying, all this shit. And his whole life he knew about the castle. So when he saw this, he said, "Fuck this shit, bro. I want to figure out how to help these people." He said, "I don't want to live in this castle. I don't want to do this shit." And so he went out into the forest and meditated for I don't know how long, but for a long ass time by himself and neglected all pleasures in life. And that is where truth is found. That is where you find your true self. You were saying to escape the matrix, you have to find your true self or whatever, right? That's how you do it. You lock in on something that you really care about, and you look at nothing else. And then eventually, you'll be staring dead at yourself. One day, I watched this video.
Yo, what you just said, bro, you don't even know what you just did, bro. You'll be staring right at yourself.
Yeah.
If you have a goal and you work towards it, and you finally achieve that goal, what are you looking at? You're looking at you.
You're looking at all the effort you put in.
But that was the vision that you had. Bro, that's why I feel like we're time travelers, bro. At least in our minds.
Yeah, we definitely are traveling through time, at least. Bit by bit.
At least in our minds.
But that earlier, you said something that Steve Jobs was very similar to what Steve Jobs said. He has this quote that says, "Once you realize that the stuff that's been made in this world were made by people that are no smarter than you, the game becomes a lot more fun." Because, bro, this phone that we're using, this computer that I'm on right now, this headset that I'm using, that was once an idea in somebody's head, and they said, "Oh, I'm going to make this." Like whoever made the first telephone or microphone was like, I talk every day, and I sometimes don't remember things. What could I do to fix this? What if, people write stuff down on paper. What if I could do something that replicated the sound that I'm hearing? And here we are, on the fucking internet. Some random dude is watching me on his phone right now. Isn't that insane? I can talk into this fucking piece of technology, and someone can watch it days later, just because some dude had an idea and stuck it through.
And gain from it, bro.
And it's all thanks to that one dude who created the microphone.
Literally, bro. And okay, so there's a concept in religion. I know that in Islam, when you do good, like my dad was telling me about it. Like, let's say you create like a mosque, not a mosque, but like let's say you create something of good value, and 5 people benefit from that good value, and they're able to give praises to God, or they're able to, pass on positivity for the world. You know, you in your next life, you gain blessing for that. Like, life will be easy on you based on that. Even if you're in suffering in your next life, or, in heaven, that's what Islam would say it as, in heaven. Even if you're supposed to be suffering during that time, they take it easy on you, like, in your environment. Like, the angels let's say you're condemned to hell and you're being tortured, In that moment, let's say if you created a space or an energy that is used for positive good, that it benefits you in your next life. What do you think about that?
So, the concept of if you do good in this life, you get rewarded in your next one.
In a superficial, yeah.
I don't know. See, here's my thing. Like, when it comes to heaven, hell, all this stuff, I do definitely think that if you do good in... I don't think you have to wait that long is what I'm trying to get at. Like, I don't think you have to wait till your next life to reap the benefits of what you do in this one. I think if you give out good energy, you're going to attract good energy now. Like, I think it's instantaneous.
I agree.
Now, when it comes to reincarnation, stuff like that, I personally think reincarnation is a very high possibility. Very high possibility of what the reality of the world is. But I also subscribe to an idea called the egg, which is, if anyone that's watching this listens to Logic, he has a song called The Waiting Room. It's on the song, it's on the album Everybody.
Bro, that's that interlude, right?
It's not, I don't know if it's an interlude. It's more so, it's an interlude, it's a skit.
It was like a skit?
Yeah, it's Neil deGrasse Tyson as God, and then I think it's some random guy as Adam. They call him Adam. And Adam gets sent to heaven or whatever, right? And he meets God, and God's like, "Hey, Adam, how are you doing?" And Adam's like, I just died, man." Like, essentially, this isn't word for word what happens.
He's like, "Bro, you done did this 400.
He was like, "Last time you were here as a girl, and you were speaking Mandarin." And essentially, he goes on to explain to him that he created this world solely for Adam, nobody else. And Adam's like, "What are you talking about? Like, there's people on Earth. Like, aren't they? You created this so that the human race could learn? Like, I don't get it." He's like, "No, for you to learn." And then Adam was like, "What? What do you mean just me?" And then he goes on to say, "Adam, you are every human, and you will live every race, creed, nationality, every one of those lives. You will get to live all of them. And then one day, you will come back to this realm, and you will gain all of the knowledge of all of those lives, and you will live as singularly Adam. And essentially, that's when you become God." And that's why I think we're all like little Christs. If you look at the word Christian, it means little Christ. And
Christ-like, yeah.
And I think that's what he's trying to get at, is that we're all a little part of God. And if you get a combination of every human's experience, then that's when you become God. But how do you tap into that? How do you tap into that source? It's hard. Meditation.
I think it's those 3 steps we were talking about earlier, man. You begin to know yourself, you shift your perspective, and then what was the last one? I don't remember.
It's funny because I forget what it was, but it's funny that Christians like to say that, I don't know, that I think it's funny that Jesus got called blasphemous, because
why?
Because if you got to think about what Jesus was just a normal fucking dude, bro. A lot of Christians probably getting mad listening to this right now, but Jesus was just a normal dude who became enlightened, in my opinion. And what would that look like to the world, bro? Think about what that would look like, right? Like, if I came to you,
like right now,
and was like, "Yo, I'm God, bro," and then I do some godly shit to back it up, sure, you're gonna believe it. But I was still a normal dude last week. I was still a normal dude the time before. And if I just go around and I start saying it and not showing people, because obviously Jesus ain't gonna show everyone his miracles. He only did them here and there.
But he let his stories talk for him.
Yeah, he did. And shit, we're here talking about him now. But
For real.
But like, that's why they called him blasphemous, because blasphemy means to call yourself God. The Jews didn't believe that Jesus was God. They still don't.
Mm-hmm.
You can go read the what's it called, the Torah.
I'm knowing.
The Torah. They still don't think Jesus was God, and that's because he was just a normal dude. He was just a normal dude who became enlightened, started spitting some shit, and people fucked with it. And I personally think that, like, we are all God. And if you look at Jesus' perspective in a different light, you can kind of get that out of what he was saying, at least in the Bible. Because obviously, you ever play the game Telephone? We don't have what Jesus actually said. We don't know what he actually said.
Exactly.
But my interpretation of what he said is that we were all God. He says, treat your neighbor as yourself. The Bible says that you're made in the image of God. What does that mean to you? Treat everyone like you, and you are a part of God. So what does that mean?
In a certain situation, how would you want to be treated? And once you come to the realization of whatever it is you would want to be treated, like how you would want to be treated, treat others in that same way.
For me, I interpret
if everyone did that on this
earth, I agree, it would
earth,
be an amazing planet, amazing place if everyone did that. But for me, I take it as quite literally, treat others as yourself. Back to the egg. If Adam truly understood that he was everyone, then he would treat others with the same respect as himself.
you would value them, yeah. You'd value somebody the same way you would value you. Like the same way you wouldn't run in front of traffic to be like, yo, anyway. Yeah. In most scenarios, somebody wouldn't want to just run out in traffic. You're not going to want to see someone else do anything like that. You try to treat people with respect.
I just had a realization actually just now, because I used to always say that the only downside to the golden rule is what if someone doesn't have self-respect. But that's why the Bible tells you that you were made in the image of God. That's telling you to respect yourself. That's what that line is telling you to do. It's like, yo, you're made in the image of the Most High. So that's what like gets rid of the loophole out of the golden rule.
Will, I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. I really like what you just said. I really enjoyed what you just said, man. You just said some shit right there.
That was a realization,
bro. You said by you being told that you are made in God's image, you are being told. I'm sorry, bro. I have hiccups. You're being told, yeah, like I'm over here looking like I'm about to check.
They said you can't talk about this one.
But by being told that you are made in God's image, you're being told to respect yourself. But this is how I think everybody should see religious books and just religion in general. You have to find a way for it to make sense to you in your own way. Because once you do that, once you get to a point where you are able to make your own, it's like a story, bro. And it is a story, you know?
Yeah.
The Bible, all those things,
Pisses
all
me
these
off
religions
people
are
look at it like it's a history book, bro. Shit's a storybook, bro.
Yeah, but
like I watch an anime, bro, and I get so much meaning out of it. Y'all, just because it's a storybook doesn't negate its truth.
It's another, bro. It's knowledge for people to gain enlightenment, and it's put in a certain way for mass audiences to understand, which is what it's doing.
Yeah.
You know, it's doing that.
Well, personally, I think it got corrupted.
I agree. I think that it's being used for capitalism. I think that it's being used for capitalism. That's what I'll end it at. You know?
It's definitely being used for control.
I really liked what you said, bro. When you realize you're made in God's image, you realize you have to respect yourself. If you realize that there's you and everybody else, you will treat others with respect.
Yeah, and to me, that's the only worldview that really makes sense. Because I often get into this argument with Christians about hell being immoral. Because, bro, listen to this. Hell, I can mathematically prove to you why hell is immoral. Immoral for God to do.
Bro, it's not even about immoral. It's not. It's not. I said it's not even about mathematical, bro. It's just logically it doesn't make sense, bro. You're not gonna build a car, and then the car messes up because of something you did to that car, and then what you're gonna
destroy it?
You're gonna
burn
just destroy the car, send it to a landfill.
Yeah, but listen.
You know,
I want to say this just so that people can try and think this through, because I often get into arguments with Christians about this, and they like to say, "Oh, sin is unforgivable." Shut the fuck up. All right, so this is the answer, right? Let's look at Adolf Hitler, right? Adolf Hitler killed millions of people. The amount of pain that those people experienced is still finite. It's still countable. It's quantitatable. You know what I mean? Like you could live those lives through and experience it, and go through all of their pain, and it will be fairness. You'll have some sort of fairness. Now, one human in hell would experience more pain than all of the people inside of Hitler's concentration camps. One person. And you're going to put every person that doesn't believe a book in there? Like, that is infinite pain on multiples that people will not understand. And what kind of loving God would do that, bro? That's not a loving God.
Forever. So you telling me you're not even about to throw me some water, bro?
Exactly,
you about
bro.
to just listen to me.
And that's why.
First of all, if I don't have a body, right? If I don't have a physical body anymore, and it's just my spirit, my essence, there's no nerve endings, there's no nothing. How am I supposed to feel that fire? Fire
I don't know.
and...
Another thing that always confused me about the Christian perspective of heaven and hell. How is it, right? They say God gives you free will, right? And I always ask Christians, why couldn't God just make it so that sin didn't exist? And they say, oh, but that will get rid of free will. But then they say in heaven that everyone's going to have free will and sin is no longer going to exist. So you're telling me I can't go to heaven and shank somebody because I no longer have free will. Is that what you're telling me?
Bro, but then is that heaven?
It's not heaven.
Can you imagine being in an environment? Can you imagine being in an environment where you wanted to make a certain move and you couldn't?
Now, bring it back. This is why I think it's complete bullshit. Those ideas of heaven and hell are metaphors to me. Heaven and hell is a mind state. J. Cole said, heaven's a state of mind. I've been a couple times. That's what J. Cole said.
Thank you. And I think that's when you get to that oneness where you really are enlightened and you go, whoa. Like, you're like, whoa.
That's why
like,
Jesus said nobody can get through heaven except through me. They're saying, he's trying to say nobody can get through heaven except living the type of life that I lived. That's what he's trying to say. A true believer in Christ.
What if he's saying, wait. What if he's saying you can't get to heaven except through me, but he's speaking as like an individual and how they should view like them. So you're saying you cannot get to heaven yourself. Unless through yourself.
Damn, bro, I didn't think of it that way. You're right. That's probably is what he's saying.
Like because we're all trying to be Christ-like, we're all trying to be Christians. I'm
not
thinking
even Christian, but
because I'm knowing, bro. I'm just saying in that perspective of people that would subscribe to that, you know. I'm saying if you can understand that the only way you can get to heaven is through me. If I say that out loud from my perspective, like me, Abdul Hakim Musa, I go, the only way I can get through heaven is through me. Right? Oh, I have to understand through myself and through my understandings of life. I have to tap
self-enlightenment
to get to that heavenly mindset. Feel me? That was the what if that I was thinking about.
Words hold hidden meanings. I truly think, you know what's crazy? There's this thing called the Book of Everything. It's a bot that puts random words together, and it's a crazy idea because deep inside of that robot is the cure to cancer, the how the Earth began, all these things just from random combinations of letters. Imagine if someone could make a bot that like scanned through that Book of Everything and like found the good information. That'd be crazy, but that's a real thing.
It's a lot of information to go through, bro.
You would need a supercomputer.
There's a lot of information to go through. But, bro, let's go into the last topic. What is integrity in a relationship to you? What does that mean to you? And when I say relationship, it can be like
Okay.
platonic. It can be what's the other word?
Okay.
Romantic, but it's just a relationship.
Integrity.
What does integrity mean to you?
To me, integrity is along the lines of honesty, and like I said in our podcast that disappeared forever, it's
It was such
was
a
a good
good
episode,
episode, bro.
but no one's ever gonna see it except me
I
and
think
you.
we followed through.
I think we had a
I
solid
think we
follow-up.
followed through.
But my answer in that episode was saying the same things to someone's face as you would behind their back. Acting in true accordance with your thoughts and ideals and with yourself. I don't have 100% integrity with any relationship, and be honest, because I'm sometimes scared of hurting other people's feelings. But I want to get to a point in the world and in my life where I can say what I think and not care about the consequences, and still know that if I fuck up or say the wrong thing, that you're still going to be there for me regardless of that. Because at the end of the day, and this is something I have a hard time with a lot of people, is words are just words. All right? Words are just
Literally.
words. And as
It's
long
just-
as my intentions are straight with you, you should not be offended by what I say. If you know it's coming from a place of love, you should not be offended, even if I say fuck you. Even if I say shut the fuck up. If it's from a place of love, you should not be mad. And that's why this is a really left field concept, but with that,
I'm
even with
hearing
the
you, bro. But
N-word
I'm
and stuff like
get
that,
it off. Get it off.
I always thought it was interesting when people go up to like African Americans and are like, "What do you think about white people saying the N-word?" And a lot of them seem to not really care that much, as long as it's in a place of good intention. And that's why I think when someone says words like that, you have to look at where their intentions come from. If a white guy goes up to his black friend and says the N-word and it's coming from a place of love, do you really hate that man? No, you shouldn't. You shouldn't.
You don't hate that man, but as that person, the only thing that person could say to his white friend in that moment is, "You could do it. Like, that's fine if you want to wear that sleeve. But if you get comfortable and you say it around the wrong person,
heed their warning. Give them. Yeah,
I
exactly.
cannot protect you. I will not. Niggas
Give
cannot.
him a
step
warning.
in.
That's for sure. Give him a warning because not
literally.
everyone's gonna think that way, and he has to understand that.
Exactly.
But I do wish we
You have
lived
to
in a world
communicate
where
that.
everyone thought that way and understood that it's all about the
Yeah,
intention.
it's perspective, bro. It's perspective. And listen, I have a song called Intention, bro.
It's a great song, probably.
So I am very well rounded to speak
have that
on
song
intentions. JK.
That's the only song I have saved.
Thank you, bro.
But
Hey, bro, it was the first song I put out, bro. But what I was gonna say is, intention does
we're on
matter,
integrity.
bro.
Yeah, we got so lost.
We're on
Yeah, we
integrity.
Say the same thing to someone's face.
Oh
as you would say behind
yeah.
them. I went so left field.
Okay, and then my response. Yeah, you said you went to the N-word, bro. You just really wanted to talk about that. Say that. But I would say that what I had said on the episode before was consistency, right? So, and then also playing the part that you signed up for. So if I'm Hakim or Abdul and I go, Will, I want to be this for you, bro. Even no matter what, I could be having my down days, my energy could be low, it doesn't matter. I have to try to stay as consistent as possible in that role that I selected in your life, because at the end of the day, my shitty day, if I hold it together and say what you need to hear when you're saying something to me, you don't know what that energy does, So let's say there's 7 days in a week, and 2 days out of those 7 days, I'm stressed out, right? And those are the 2 days you call me, right?
Yeah.
But you need to talk to me about something that's stressing you out, right? So my definition of integrity is me saying, scratch everything that I may be feeling. I need to be XYZ for my mans right now so that my mans can use this energy to now bulldoze through what he got to bulldoze through XYZ, And it has to remain constant. As you said before, if I say something to you that may vex you, or if I may do something that vex you, it doesn't matter. We still have to hold each other down. That's integrity to me. It's being true to the role that you signed up for, and then being consistent to that role. And in a way, I guess that can be a synonym to being honest with that person. But
Yeah,
you
well,
just have to be that
that's
role
being
in front
honest
of
to
that
yourself,
person and
too,
away
because
from that person.
I fail at this a lot, and this is something I'm trying to work on. Is I want to make my words iron-willed. I want to make it when I say something that becomes reality, and that comes with integrity. That honestly, that's probably the most truest definition I come up with. Integrity is always fulfilling your words. And there's a lot of things I've said that I was going to do that I haven't done. There's a lot of times that I say I'm going to be this for someone and I don't do it, or like I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm perfect. But what I'm trying to do is make my words in accordance with my actions and make that 100% of the time. Right now, I'd probably say it's like 25%, 30% if I'm being completely honest with myself. But the goal is to get to 100%, which no one's ever going to get there. But you can try your best.
It's one step at a time. It's one step at a time. If you can pick 5 days out of the 7-day weekends to improve, I said, if you can pick 5 days out of the 7 days in the week
7-day
to
weekends.
improve,
That's a nice weekend.
you're on an upward, you're on an upwards trajectory. You know, even if you're at 4 out of the 7 days, you are still at an upwards trajectory. Just pick 4 days to 5 days to just
consistency
improve.
is so key.
If
That's
you
so
try to
oversaid, but
improve-
like, it's honestly the biggest factor. Like, for example, let's say you had infinite days, or not infinite days, but like a really long amount of hours in your day, like 40, 50 hours, right? If you go to the gym for 40 hours in one day, I know it's impossible, but you're not going to see the same amount of growth as if you spread those 40 hours throughout like a couple weeks. And what would that be, a month? A month of consistent gym work? And that's because there's a cycle to going to the gym, obviously, but I think a gym is a good metaphor for that. And yeah, so like doing stuff consistently compounds over time as opposed to just getting it all done in one day. And you can see that even with your body. And that's another thing about the universe that a lot of people don't realize, is that the macro mirrors the micro. So stuff that happens in the atomic world happens in the big world. And you can see instances in that and stuff like the double slit experiment, which proves that human observation has a direct impact on our reality. I don't know if you know what the double slit experiment is, do you? So there's an experiment that they did with particles in which particles act as a wave and as a particle. So if you have a metal sheet, right, and you have two slits in it, and you have water, and the metal sheet's in the water, and you have paper that records behind it. So let's say you drop something in the water, it makes a ripple effect. The ripples go through the two slits. Now, on the two slits, you're now going to have two ripples coming out through the holes, and they're going to record on the back of the paper. That looks way different than if you just shot BBs through the slits. So you shoot BBs through the slits, right? You get just 2 lines on the paper. You do the wave one, you're going to get like 6 lines. And what scientists found is if you do that experiment with particles or atoms and shoot them at a paper and you look at it, they will act as particles. If you don't look at it, they will act as waves. Ain't that some shit? That's something that kind of supports simulation theory as well. Because I don't know if people know about video games, but like if you're playing GTA, the map only renders so much of the map. It doesn't render the whole map at once because it's too much for the computer.
So wherever you are is where it's
Human observation has an effect on our reality, and I believe it. Like, look at stuff like the law of attraction, manifestation, all this stuff. Like, you're fucking naive if you don't think that your brain has an impact on the world around you. But yeah, I think it's time to wrap it up.
And William, I think
we did make up for it.
Even though the greatest podcast
Out in
episode
the
of all
ether.
time that we recorded right before this one is not live, and it's probably never going to go
Yeah, the
live.
file got corrupted, boys.
We did a good follow-up. We were going to go to sleep,
we were going to give
man.
up,
We were gonna
boys,
say
but we made this for you.
know. But we
So
did
fucking
it.
subscribe.
Shout out to Riverside
Shout out to
for
fucking
working.
Riverside. And if y'all saw the last one at the very end, man, comment and we'll cash app you 100. Sorry. Anyway, this has been a New Earth podcast. Good night.
Hey, this is Abdul.
This is Will. Peace out. All right, bro. I'm leaving the studio. Adios, amigos.
All right, bro.
Good night.